Okay, so this is Iceland, and right now I am in the south of Iceland, as south can be in Iceland. This is Jökulsárlón Glacial Lake, and this is the first real thing that we're doing together, like the first real tourist spots that we're seeing. But this is the second day that we're in Iceland, so I'm going to tell you how we got from Reykjavik to here. So yesterday we arrived in Reykjavik airport and we immediately got a rental car because last night our first hotel was in a small town called Vik, and from Reykjavik it takes about 2.5 hours to get to Vik, this very small town but beautiful. And the reason we spent our first night there instead of going straight into Reykjavik was because we wanted to come here. So from Vik this morning it took another 2 hours to get from there to here, and it was so beautiful, the drive. I've never been in a country where everywhere you turn there is just some beautiful scenery from the car. One of the best car journeys I've ever had. We saw waterfalls, we saw volcanoes, lakes, this country is so beautiful. So this is, like I said, this is Jökulsárlón Glacial Lake, and this has been used in a lot of movies. It's been in quite a lot of James Bond movies, but you can actually see like the glacier behind us just there where the lake runs into, and this is definitely the best thing that we could have done to start our Iceland journey. You can't come to a place of glaciers like this without realizing the impact of global warming and the need to talk about it. So in this lake there should be a lot less icebergs than there are. There should be a lot more icebergs together, but global warming makes them all disconnect, melt away. In fact, we just saw a part of an iceberg break up just this moment, which was pretty beautiful, but at the same time, when you realize why that happened, it was, the afterthought is, oh god. And luckily there are like signs that pinpoint to what the glacier actually used to look like and the rate which the glacier is receding and the rate that the icebergs here are breaking up. So coming here, it's absolutely beautiful, but also again makes you think that we as humanity need to step up our game towards global warming, so yeah, it's a good afterthought. Okay, so that was Jökulsárlón Glacial Lake, and just a quick tip, once you are done at the lake, follow the river to where the lake meets the ocean, and here you'll come across a great black sand beach where lots of the icebergs that have broken off from the glacier actually accumulate on the shore of this beach, and it's a great location to take some great shots. Now that the glacier is done, we're heading back west, and we're heading back towards Vik where we first stayed, because now we're going to another beach. Okay, so after the glacier we've come all the way back here to the small town of Vik, and like I said before, Vik was the first town that we stayed in on our first night. We stayed at a hotel called Hotel Kalla, would definitely recommend. But the reason we came back here again was because Vik's most famous attraction is its black beach called Reynisfjara, and Iceland has a lot of black sand beaches, but Reynisfjara is probably especially the most famous because the black sand here, it is the color of oil. Like, it is absolutely gorgeous. And not just the beach here, there are rock formations very similar to the Giant's Causeway back in Northern Ireland, and caves that stretch out over the beach. It is absolutely breathtaking here. But if you do come here, one word of caution is you have to mind and be very careful of the waves here. In the last 10 years, three tourists have died here just because of the strength of the waves comes so quickly here that they can drag you out if you're not careful. So absolutely come here, but just be very careful of the waves. But honestly, this is one of the most stunning beaches I've been in my whole life. Would definitely recommend. So it's day 3 in Iceland, and today we are touring around the Golden Circle, and the first stop on the Golden Circle is Kerud Crater, which is just behind me. This is a 50-minute drive away from Reykjavik, and this crater is an extinct volcano, and after the last eruption over 6,000 years ago, this lake then formed, and you can see just how blue the water is. It's definitely a great start to the circle. Okay, so stop number 2 on the Golden Circle is Giza, and this is where you can finally get to see some erupting geysers in Iceland that it is famous for. And the reason it's called Giza, because this is where the English language word originates from. The geysers here were the first recorded geysers in the English language. And originally the word Giza comes from the Old Norse language, meaning to gush. So these are the original geysers. This is where the word comes from. Now, in this area there are 2 geysers. One, the Great Geyser, just called Giza, and 2 is the Strukka Geyser. Now, the Great Geyser is mostly dormant, like it can not erupt for years at a time, but the Strukka Geyser erupts at least once every 15 minutes. We were here for a good 40-45 minutes, and we saw it erupt around about 7-8 times, so you will definitely get the chance to see some erupting geysers here, and you can get some great pictures. Now, stop 3 today is Gullfoss Falls. Now, these waterfalls are just a 15-minute drive away from the last stop in Giza, which is great compared to the usual 2 hours it takes to get to anywhere else in Iceland. Now, these waterfalls, driving up to them, they're so inconspicuous. You're driving on the road looking for a waterfall, you won't be able to see them because the waterfalls are just in a gorge just behind me right here. Now, these waterfalls, I haven't seen Niagara Falls, I haven't seen Victoria Falls, but for me personally, these are the largest, widest, most breathtaking waterfalls I've ever seen. I did not expect to see waterfalls like this today, and it just blew my mind. They're breathtaking. But when you come here, make sure you're wearing waterproof gear, because you are going to get wet the more you walk up to it. But, best thing today so far. And the final stop of the Golden Circle is right here, Þingvellir National Park. Now this park is very important for 3 reasons. Number 1, it is the meeting point of 2 tectonic plates. So on one side of this park you have Europe, and on the other side you technically have the beginning of North America. And it is the most visible tectonic plate in the world from what I've been told by the people who work here. Number 2 is this is the site of the first Icelandic government. Over 1,000 years ago, the first government was created here, where the clans of Iceland gathered for the first time. So for Icelandic people, this is where they pinpoint their national identity to. So very spiritual meaning for Icelandic people. And number 3, it's because this park has been frequently used as backdrops for scenes in Game of Thrones. Here is where people created the Eyrie, the North of, you know what I mean. So lots of Game of Thrones scenes were filmed here, and it's fun that you can even see where you remember scenes from the TV show. It's beautiful. And so yeah, that is the Golden Circle. So it's day 4 in Iceland. We got the Golden Circle out of the way yesterday, and today we're coming back on the southern coast to do some things that we didn't have time for on day 2. Because on day 2, the glacial lake and the black sand beach, it took all the time. So now we're going to do some things that we didn't have time for. And first on our list is this waterfall behind me, Solheimasandur. And it's another day, it's another waterfall, and I'm not getting tired of any waterfalls. Iceland can throw all the waterfalls at me because I love every single one. But what sets this waterfall out from the others, like what makes it stand out, is that number 1, you might remember a volcano that erupted in 2010 in Iceland, and basically the ash clouds off it grounded every single plane in Europe. Well, the glacier that sits atop of that volcano ends here. So these waterfalls are basically the end point of that famous volcano. I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce that, because that's just going to waste everyone's time. And the second reason why what sets these falls out from the others is there are caverns behind these waterfalls that you can actually walk behind and get some great pics. But again, bring some waterproof gear because you are going to get wet. And then just a few miles up the road from the last falls, you have Skógafoss waterfall. And this is the last waterfall I'm going to show you, I promise. But we're here because this is the largest waterfall on the southern coast of Iceland. And after seeing all the others, it definitely has a certain je ne sais quoi compared to the others. And all the tourist board signs here say that it is considered one of the most beautiful waterfalls, if not the most beautiful waterfall in Iceland. So just up the road from Skogafoss Fall, you will find Solheimasandur Glacier, and this is easily the best part of this holiday so far. I am speechless at the beauty of this place. The green of the mountains, the black of the sand, the white and grey of the ice here. This is, I feel like I'm on an alien planet or beyond the wall in Game of Thrones here. It's absolutely stunning here. I'm at a loss for words, and I'm so happy. I feel so lucky to be here right now. It's speechless. I could bring a tear to my eye how beautiful this place is right now. Now here's some interesting trivia for you. In 1973, a United States military plane ran out of fuel and crash-landed on a remote beach in Iceland. Luckily, there were no fatalities, and the plane was simply abandoned for decades due to its remote location. Now fast forward to the age of Instagram and social media, and it's now one of the most visited attractions in Iceland, with many tourists wanting to get that unique profile pic. And recently it's become even more well-known thanks to appearing in a Justin Bieber music video. To get to the plane, you can either take a 4-hour walk on some rough terrain, or take the much more convenient 20-minute shuttle bus. Okay, so today is our last full day in Iceland. It's day 5, and for the first part of today we're going to be exploring Reykjavik for the first time. And you might think it's strange that you've left the actual main city in Iceland to last, but in actual fact I was told before I came here that Reykjavik is actually a very, very small city, and all you need is half a day to actually see the main sights around the city. And so far that's actually proving to be very true. But let's go see them all now. Perfect way to end a perfect holiday. This is the Blue Resort. It's just 45 minutes outside of Reykjavik. It's actually right next to Reykjavik International Airport, which is convenient if you're actually staying at the resort. And it's just so relaxing and perfect here. So we got the premium package, so if you go on their website, there's a lot of different packages you can choose. We got the premium one, which gives you bathrobes, flip-flops, 2 facial scrubs, 2 complimentary drinks of choice as well, which can include alcohol drinks, and then also accommodation at the hotel after you're done with the lagoon. And so this is definitely my recommendation. You sort everything out, and then you don't have to worry about bringing anything else or any extra payments that you would then pay on your wristband here. And okay, this is perfect. Say hi everyone. Hi. And now we're going to get out, have dinner, and head up Reykjavik. Woo! Best holiday ever? Yeah!